Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. In this video, I'm putting together another Project Life spread, this week using the Stories by the Month kit from July from Ali Edwards. This is the week of July 24th through July 30th, and I think this is a fun one. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so I have all my pictures cropped out and I'm just going to go ahead and start laying them out. For this week, I have 4x6 pockets, which is something I haven't been doing a lot. If you've watched a lot of my recent videos, I've been leaning more towards more 3x4 pockets. I don't know why, but I think part of it is Instagram. I take a lot of photos for Instagram stories, but I also I like that when I do the 3x4 photos, I get more photos. I also like just trying to figure out where I want to lay everything out. I also just like the 3x4 or the vertical orientation better. I did end up printing a couple photos in 4x6, but this photo actually was taken vertically and I cropped it to fit as a horizontal photo. I think I'm actually going to rearrange it. I'm trying to decide how to lay the photos out. I don't love it when there's two photos next to each other like this. Actually, I don't like this. That's all three. So I think I'm going to move this one here and do that. And then this 4x4 photo was a square for Instagram. So I just printed it 4x4 and I'll have this little piece here. And then this was from the rail trail. I'm not sure. This is a lot of photos across here. So maybe I will, I'm not sure yet how I want to lay these things out. So I'm working with the July Stories by the Month kit from Ali Edwards. I definitely want to include this 3 things card. And so when I had printed these, I think I had decided I wanted to crop these out and use them to tell 5 stories. So that is my plan, to include those on top of some of the photos. For my title card, let's see, this one should be cut out, so that doesn't really work. And then this one was kind of a 4th of July one. So this makes the most sense as my title card here. And I'm probably going to put a label on top of it. And then let's see, I have this one. For behind here, I don't really have anything, but I do have, there's these floral pieces. And of course there's the stamp. I can make a background. And then let's see here for these. So one of the papers, these come with papers in that I already took the 3x8 paper out because I always use that for a different project. I have those in my One Little Word album. But this one I love. You can cut these out and they'd be great in Project Life. They're great prompts. Although because some of these are specific, I would do this when you are planning for a week that hasn't happened yet. So actually I'm going to take this out of plastic so you can see it better. So if you wanted to use this in Project Life, what I would do is I would cut these out and then I would plan it for a week that hasn't happened yet. And just make a note of these 9 things that you want to document them during the week and try to take a picture or write a few notes down for them and then lay these out on your photos. That would be a really fun Project Life week. And let's see, for me, I have these cards. So I don't have a big journaling card for this week. I'm trying to use up, I think I had decided I wanted to maybe use this and create my own card. And then this one is good here, around the house and around the yard. I don't know how you put that. I guess maybe this would actually work here because those are from my garden. So it was how do you do around the house and around the yard in one photo? And you could just do 2 3x4 photos side by side, or you could just put it on something like this, which is around the house, even though it's not around the yard. But I think I like it on here because this is actually around the house and around the yard. Then let's see, we've got this one, and this one's probably pretty good to put on something, maybe like that, or even actually on this one of my cat. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these out. I'm gonna make myself some background cards here, probably either using the stamp set. So there is also this vellum. I think this is vellum. Let me open it. So this is vellum. These kits come with a 6x8 piece of either vellum or like a transparency. So I could use this as my background. Actually, I do kind of like that a lot. It's really pretty. But because it's vellum, I would want to back it with like white paper. So I'm not sure I want to use it here. I could also use this to make this card and like make a border for it. So I'm going to think about whether or not I want to do that or whether or not I want to create something using like the stamps. And I also have these die cuts. I'm not sure I want to use these. These are really big. But again, if you are trying to use this kit in Project Life, first of all, there are some small ones that are great for Project Life. Like that might be fun to just like put on here. But some of these bigger ones would be great in 4x6 pockets. If you want to create a journaling card, I think you could use like this and add like a white card here and then create your journaling, which is actually really neat, and kind of wish I had done that, but I don't really have like more to journal about for this week. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on fast forward, figure out kind of where my journaling is going to go, cut these out, figure that out, and get these backgrounds made and get this thing put together. Okay, I'm going ahead and diving into this, and I'm starting by cutting out these 5 things, and Pumpkin came to help me. So you saw him walk across there, and he was actually sniffing my lighting that I have, which was kind of funny. I'm surprised that he didn't mind putting his face right up in a light bulb, but you know, he's a cat. Anyway, so I'm cutting out each of these little numbers here. There's 1 through 5, and they're just perfect little spots to include little stories about various photos in my spread. This is something I like to do often in my Project Life spreads. Find a card or something that I can cut out little journaling spots that will be repeated across the spread and tell a little bit more of the story of each photo. That worked really well for this week where there wasn't a ton going on, but there were a lot of little stories and I had a lot of photos for them. So this might not work as well if you don't have photos to represent a lot of your stories. In that case, I would recommend leaving this card as one without cutting them out and just putting it in a pocket and telling your stories. And you know, guys know that I love to do that, where I just include a list of stories on one 3x4 card that are the stories that don't have photos to go along with them. So for this extra pocket, I pulled this grid paper out of my stash. It is just like a light green grid, and I don't even remember where this is from. It was just something that's been in my stash for a while, and my plan is to create a journaling card here to tell the story of a work story I have from this week. I went to a focus group for 2 days, which is something that we used to do annually, but we stopped doing with the pandemic. And this was our first time back to doing it. So I wanted to tell that story, but I didn't have any photos from it because it is a work event. And I don't really take photos at work, both because I can't and because it's a little weird. And they're not going to be good photos anyway. So I was able to just journal about it on this card. So what I did to decorate the card a little bit, because there wasn't really a journaling card in this kit that had, you know, a lot of space to journal. Most of the journaling cards were very prompt based or had a lot of words and stuff and just a little room to journal. So it made sense to make one myself. So what I did was I used this floral vellum to line the top of it and added a chipboard piece on top. And then I used more of the grid paper, but I used the back, so it's just plain white, to cut out a 4x6 card and create a 4x6 card with my 4x4 photo and more of that vellum. And I like that there's that repetition of the vellum across 2 of my photos. I did put that 4 down right there, and I do end up switching it to the 5. I wanted something else behind it, but I didn't want to use one of the flowers from the kit. So I pulled over the envelope and cut out the July bubble, and I kind of like this, and I think I might end up doing that for more of my months going forward. And so I just put that envelope into my scrap drawer. And so if I want to cut out a different month in the future, it will be there. I rearranged those numbers because I want them to kind of be 1 through 4 left to right. They don't really have any meaning, that like the different numbers don't matter for the stories, but I just wanted them to be in numerical order going across the spread. I pulled over my favorite stamp set, and this is linked down below in the description box. I love this stamp set. I use it all the time for titles and just words on my spread. And so I used it to put the focus group title on this card. And then I'm going to journal all about the focus group and, you know, just that work experience, which was my only really longer story to tell this week. Sometimes I do more journaling in my project life, but since I've been keeping a daily journal, I'm not really needing to tell as many stories in here or have as much journaling in here, because I do have that daily journal, which includes a lot more of my like feeling based journaling. And this is more factual based in my project life, which is a good switch that I like, or like separation that I like between the facts and the feeling base. On this photo of my cat, I added one of the floral pieces and a chipboard piece as an embellishment. And then I'm adding down the two on this is a photo of my daughter's tire. She needed to get her car inspected this week. This is the first, year she's had a car. So it's the first time she's had to do the state inspection, and her car failed, even though it's a fairly new car, because she needed new tires. And it turned out she had like a big gash in her tire, and she never even noticed because she hit a curb. So it was just kind of a learning experience for her. I also journaled on one that was a photo I took when I did a really long walk that was 9.17 miles. So I documented that. I documented that photo that is kind of off the page right now, that 4x6 photo of my daughter's, all of her stuff being packed up for college. And then I also did, my cat had his birthday this week. He turned 9. And so he had himself a little cake there. You can see him in his party hat, and his cake is just a can of cat food that has been turned upside down. And I did put a candle for it, but I didn't get a photo of that because I have to hold him back so that he doesn't get too close to the candle. He doesn't necessarily love the candle and the hat part, but he very much loves the cake, and he got presents as well. So I am doing my stamping here for this. I did this in the last month in June, but every month this year I've been using this 3 things card to kind of recap the month and some highlights from it. And I had just been journaling, but in June I did the stamping for titles, and I really liked how that looked. So I did it again for July. I didn't really have a lot of big stories, so I did a couple here, and just journaling some little things that happened this month. It was kind of a transitional month. My daughter moved to college in August, so July was a lot of like wrapping up things and getting stuff taken care of before she left. So I pulled over my organization here, my stamp organization, and I will link that up at the eye if you're curious about how that system works. But basically, that is how I organize all of my stamps, and I wanted an alpha stamp. So I pulled it over so that I could figure out which alpha I wanted to use. I chose this one that I believe is from Studio Calico. Honestly, I don't remember. My alphas are just all organized by the fact that they're alpha, not by brand. And I wanted to stamp in here. So as I had said, this was a very transition month. So this card says, "This chapter of my life is called," and it has a box for you to fill it in. So I wrote out the word, or stamped out the word, transition. I really thought it should be like transitional to be the right part of speech, but that didn't think that would fit. And I think transition works. So I ended up doing that. Because I had pulled over this alpha to stamp, I wanted to use it again. And so I have this card here that says, "Looking back on this month, I see." And it does have space for reflective journaling, but because I use the 3 things card like that, I didn't really need more reflective journaling on the month. So instead, I decided to stamp out the phrase "beautiful chaos," because that's really what this month was about. It was a very fun month, a lot of good, being, summertime and getting outside and crafting, but it was also super busy because my daughter's going away to college and there were a lot of things to wrap up. I went through the flowers because I wanted to add some embellishments to the top of this card, and I ended up putting this floral piece on there and thinking I needed something else to add to it. I pulled out the stamp set and was considering adding something on there, but I decided against using the stamp, and instead I go over to my stash and I pull out something else. I did go through the kit there and see if there was anything else I wanted to use, and there wasn't. So I went to my stash and I found these stickers. I think they were from a very, very old story kit. I want to say like View or something, which was probably from like 2015. And I just decided to figure out which ones I could fit in here. I was able to fit a couple of them on a few of my cards, and just adding a little bit more of embellishing to the spread. I decided that that was enough. I really like how this one came out. I love the fun cheery colors of this kit and the florals. I think it was a really fun spread to put together, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. I'm just going ahead and slipping all of my cards into the pockets. I did have one journaling thing I needed to do on that last card off camera, but otherwise I really like how this spread came out. Because I had those journaling spots on my photos and I did want to add some embellishing on the 4x6 photos, I didn't add anything on that final 3x4 photo of my cat. Here's a look at that final completed spread. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. As always, thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.